Good evening and welcome to Four Lads Rangers Monday Night Live. Just last week, Kenny and I done a number of shows and we were sitting going, well, hopefully we'll have something to talk about soon and maybe some good signings and stuff like that. And in true Rangers fashion, Kenny, they go and provide you with a story that I suppose was a surprise, but maybe not when you think about it. But before we get into all that, Kenny, how are you? Are you well?
I am, mate, yes. I had a wee day off today. Took the bank holiday, and I've sat and been very lazy all day. It's been great.
No, didn't have the luxury of a bank holiday. Who needs a bank holiday for a game that finishes on a Sunday morning? But hey ho.
Those that did what I did, which was drink a lot.
Yeah, before we go into it, huge thanks to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Cliveview Fire Protection and Joinery, Arfield Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, Candid, and our partners, rydc.co.uk. Kenny, okay, so the big news, as yet, Danny Röhl remains Rangers head coach. There's nothing confirmed. It will be confirmed. He will leave to join RB Salzburg. Derek McInnes will be the new Rangers manager on a 3-year deal at a cost of £500,000, if we're led to believe by what the papers are reporting. Rangers are said to be getting a fee of anywhere between 2 to 5 million for Danny Röhl, depending on who you listen to and who apparently is rising, depending on how well he does and all this sort of stuff. We will need to wait and see. But as yet, it is not confirmed by Rangers. It will be confirmed, but it isn't as yet. Kenny, bombshell news, I suppose. Take me through your thoughts to it and your first impressions, because we haven't. This is our first time speaking about this.
It is, yeah, and I find the whole thing a little bit peculiar. I have to say, a little bit odd, a little bit weird, maybe, that we still have a manager, but we already have a new manager in place, effectively. I think Rangers have acted quite swiftly. I think they've been quite clever about the way they've went about it, where I feel that, how would you put this? I think that there has been murmurings behind the scenes that Red Bull might well be interested. So in that sense, that they've looked at the situation and said, right, okay, well, if that interest comes, we need to get ourselves prepared, and they've done that. And Derek McInnes looks like he'll be in towards the end of the week, by the sounds of things. I agree with you in the sense that it's not utterly unsurprising. However, I do feel that when you consider a fortnight ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was there, that he had the full backing of the board and the chairman and the CEO, and he's away. What do you say to that, apart from was Danny Röhl himself particularly happy here? Doesn't sound like it. If you consider that I know he said he wasn't pushing to go, Stevie, but he must have liked the idea of going to Salzburg. Otherwise, this wouldn't have got anywhere. So, an interesting one, and it tells you, or tells me anyway, that there's stuff going on behind the scenes there that we are obviously not privy to. That things are moving quite swiftly, and yeah, bring it on. That's all I can think and say about it. You will just need to bring it on and see how this goes.
Yeah, a lot of people saying in the comments that Sky are reporting that Röhl is gone and it's confirmed. That might have been the headline, but when you actually go in and listen to it, it's still to be confirmed. So, as I said at the top of the story, at the top of the show, the story remains that Derek McInnes is not the Rangers manager yet. Danny Röhl is still the Rangers head coach, but we know it's going to change. Kenny, there has been a chain of thought for a while. You and I were at a live show in Grangemouth where they talked about Danny Röhl getting back in purely because the owners were aware that there's interest from others. There is a tentative link to Rangers from Leeds between RB and Red Bull and Leeds and all that sort of thing. It's not beyond possibility to suggest that that Rangers were aware of interest, and that's maybe why they backed him. We're giving the board credit for that then, and we just honestly don't know. What we do know is that Danny Röhl was asked if he was interested in speaking to Salzburg, and he said yes. And as soon as Rangers found that out, they moved and very quickly got together a 4-man shortlist, which we believe contained Steven Gerrard, Kevin Muscat, possibly one from Rob Edwards, or depending on who you believe. And then obviously Derek McInnes. Derek McInnes is the only one they've apparently spoken to, or the club claim apparently spoken to, and he's got the job. It didn't come as a massive shock to me that Danny Röhl had left, but it certainly came a shock to me last week about how it all went about. I didn't expect it, but as I said, in a weird way, it wasn't a huge surprise. We'll get to Derek McInnes in a bit. Danny Röhl, I've said a long time, we've said since he was confirmed that there was this danger if we started poorly, how the fans would react, and that was a concern. We would get behind him, but it was always going to be, we were all anxious about the situation. Now that he's gone, Kenny, or to be confirmed is gone, where do you sit with Danny Röhl, and is it at the club inadvertently got a backhanded favour here?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt in that. I think if you read between the lines, if any manager or head coach as he is, is interested in another job, then he can't be all in and fully committed here. He can't be, and that suggests that a lot of what we heard towards the end of the last season, just gone, is a little bit of a nonsense, Stevie, because he was saying that he was all in. And well, it couldn't have been. If the first opportunity to go back home comes, then you are not fully committed to the job. You cannot possibly be, if somebody can turn your head that quickly. On the whole scenario of being done a favour, well, yeah, possibly, because I think most people, and certainly 4 lads here and a number of the support, weren't particularly convinced by Danny Röhl. He started well, made us hard to beat, all the rest of it. But when it came to trying to keep the back door shut and score goals, he was found wanting at that, Stevie. And the complete collapse after the split is where everybody kind of really has had serious reservations. You and I have both said that I asked you, I think it was, do you see Rangers winning the league with Danny Röhl? Because I don't. I think you agreed, if I remember right. It's just one of these things, Stevie, that I kind of feel there's a lot more to this than we obviously know, because this doesn't happen this quickly and swiftly without those that need to know certain issues, they're knowing them. What you've said about the 4 candidates, that worries me, Stevie, that they have only went and talked to one person. Well, how can you possibly have 4 candidates if you're only going to speak to one person? You only have one candidate. You might have put 4 names in a list and then that's the one we want, but that's not doing your due diligence. Also, what worries me when you look at the list of candidates, and I'm going to be quite blunt about this, is when you look at Derek McInnes, you look at Kevin Muscat, and you look at Steven Gerrard, all 3 of them have already knocked us back before. So we're not looking particularly far afield, and that is a little bit of a concern for me. And I'm here to be honest and tell you how I see it, Stevie, and I'm not overly convinced with the way this has been gone about.
He has gone. I think what I would say about Danny Röhl, listen, this is where it becomes a wee bit difficult for me. Andrew Kavanagh just told us, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, Rangers were best placed to win the league with Danny Röhl in charge. And then, 4 or 5 weeks later, he's making that change. And I get things change, and he probably had to say it at the time, but the optics of 3 managers in a year and things aren't great. Danny Röhl's, listen, I think Danny Röhl done a good job of stabilising when he came in. I don't think the squad's anywhere near good enough. I'll continue to say that. He got us into a position where we could have won the league, and then promptly the made wrong decisions and things like that. His record against Celtic was poor, but he goes with my best wishes, and there's no resentment there from me at all. Derek McInnes is an interesting one. Here's the thing, and I'm going to be completely honest. I will back Derek McInnes because he's here and because he's our manager. Derek McInnes comes from good stock. He knows what it's all about. He will bring that determination, and he'll make Rangers difficult to beat. And he'll have that understanding of the football club, understanding what's required, understanding of the expectations. Beyond that, I'm not sure. I like Derek McInnes, don't get me wrong, because he's an ex-Rangers player and because I think he's done steady. He was steady at Aberdeen. He was steady at Kilmarnock. He's been steady at Hearts. Even punched above his weight at Hearts, so to speak. But he's won 1 League Cup, Kenny. And I'm not saying he's not. It might be a case for me of Derek McInnes is the right person for right now for Rangers Football Club, which is we need to have people in there that understand it and understand what's required at the football club. I'm not being negative. I just want to look at the context of everything. Who could we have gone get? You know, the boys got criticism for saying Glasner last night, and Glasner's well out of our league. Absolutely. So I understand the frustration. Do we have to realise that gone are the days of Rangers being able to attract a top-level manager or top-level head coach? I think probably we should. Probably we can. So yeah, it's an extremely difficult one. Is Derek McInnes the best person for the Rangers job at this moment? Very well. Do we all have a soft spot for Derek McInnes? Absolutely, we do. He gets it. Everything else, but this is an appointment where it could be the same as Alex McLeish, where Alex was the right person at the right time, Scottish, understood what's required, or it could be one that just doesn't measure up. We're never going to be able to predict that at this moment, but it's a hell of a job for Derek McInnes, and it's a hell of a job for Rangers and the owners, which he's got to get right now that he's been chosen.
Well, yeah, obviously. It's a big risk for me, and you stole my thunder a little bit because I was going to say exactly that. He's been a manager for a long, long time now, Stevie, and he's won 1 trophy, and that was when we were down in the lower leagues. So I don't think he's a proven manager. I think he had a great season last season. I think it all clicked together for Hearts, though. I think when you look at their away record, it was really poor, and it's what's cost them the league, I think, to a certain degree. I just feel that it's one of those things, Stevie, that I'll disagree with you slightly when you say that the days of getting a top-class manager or a top-level manager are gone. Celtic managed it a few years ago, mate. They went and got Brendan Rodgers and they paid him $3.5 million a year. And all I was going to say is that if you want a top manager, you need to pay top dollar. So, sorry, when you go.
Right, no, don't apologise. All I was going to say at this point in time, what I meant by that is that we finished 3rd in the league last season. Going to get a Glasner or somebody that now is just way out of Rangers' reach. Rangers, to be able to get that, they would have to spend, $5 million a year on him at $100,000. Narrowly missed out on the Milan job to hammer him, which I think is absolutely mental, but never mind. Those days, that would be nice if we could realistically say somebody like that, but we can't realistically. Steven Gerrard might have been the one that I thought. Do you know when this all started breaking? I thought it'll be Gerrard, and I kind of just agreed. I kind of just came to terms with it. It'll be Steven Gerrard. It's not Steven Gerrard. Kevin Muscat, difficult year for him already out there. I'm not sure about now. I don't think there's an outstanding candidate. Some people talked about Rob Edwards or Scott Parker being the 4th man. I'm not sure that works either with their style of football. Maybe Derek McInnes, as I'm trying to get to, is the right man at the right time.
Yeah, listen, he knows our league like the back of his hand. He knows every player in it. the good thing that I think it was you that said it to me the other day, and you're right, it's spot on. The good thing about Derek McInnes here is that when you listen to him, he knows our strengths and he knows our weaknesses. Therefore, if he is coming in, he knows exactly what needs improved and he needs what needs strengthened. And he's going to get a budget that he's never had before, Stevie. So he is now going up levels that he hasn't performed at before. So we'll see how he does. I do think that in the main, I think he'll steady us, and he's a very pragmatic coach and all these things, Stevie. But it's the absolute rank rotten performances away from home at times that have cost him over the years, and that is his problem. That he's not a particularly adventurous coach, and he's going to have to change that. I would think, being at Rangers, because he's never had a job like this before, and I felt personally that he wilted a little bit under the pressure at Hearts last season. I thought when he was speaking to the press, the media and stuff, that he didn't come across overly well. So he's going to have to deal with that. And that's where I am with it. I'm not against the appointment, because I do think when it comes to domestic football, he knows the game. As I say, he knows the Scottish League. So that's fine. But it's the taking the step up I'm not 100% convinced with. But we'll wait and see how he does. And I wish him all the very best. And he'll get my full backing, obviously. But I have my reservations. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to have that. Kenny, does it concern you that Hearts were so easy to deal with in a way that it almost, it's almost been reported in their circles that they're going to go and get somebody that will suit them and suit their model? They're going to receive 500,000 from us, 3-year deal. How much do you think Jim Gillespie had control of this decision? He's already, Jim's a big Rangers man. I think he understands the club, etc. What job he's going to do, I'm not sure. There's been this cry for the fans to get people that get it, to understand it, to have that Scottish background in the playing staff. How much do you think Jim Gillespie has affected this decision?
Massively, actually. However, it does make sense when you look at where we are and what we need to do, and that is get the better of Hearts first and foremost right away and challenge Celtic for this league. I think when Jim Gillespie's come in, it's been mentioned more and more. Andrew Kavanagh said it as well, that when it comes to the signings and the way the club's going to be run, there's going to be a much more Scottish influence within it. So it makes sense to go and get a Scottish manager. I understand that. You've got Lawrence Shankland coming in. We've been linked with Lewis Ferguson, Luke Graham, and others, Elliot Watt. So a lot of Scots getting linked. So that, with a Scottish CEO that knows Rangers, I know Patrick Stewart was Scottish, but he's from Aberdeen, so it doesn't really count. But you sit there and you understand that Jim, being a Rangers man, he might well be looking at that influence and saying that is what's needed within the building, and I understand that. So yeah, the influence that Jim Gillespie has is obviously rubbing off on everybody else, because I don't think there's any doubt that if it was up to Andrew Kavanagh, going by what we've heard about how thorough he is, it would have been a situation where he would have turned around and said, right, we'll get 4 or 5 candidates and we'll give them 3, 4, 5 interviews. So that's not happened. By all accounts, this has happened over in Boston over the weekend, basically. So interesting stuff. And I know that you know as well as I do that Andrew Kavanagh and Jim Gillespie are over at the NASA convention. So that's where this is all coming from. And I knew the other day that Derek McInnes was doing he's over there on holiday with his wife at the minute, and he was doing I don't know if it was a Route 66, but it was something very similar, I believe. So good luck to him. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say, Stevie, other than the fact that the influence of Jim Gillespie being that Rangers supporter is really quite telling, that the way the club is now turning on a path and going in a different direction, which I don't mind. I just feel that, as I say, it's a little bit of a risk with a manager that has only won one competition over the 15 years or so that he's been a manager.
Yeah, look, it's how do you say this? I just look at things contextually. I think Derek McInnes may very well be the right man for Rangers at this point in this time. I think it's the best time for him as a coach, as a manager. I think he's not going to get a better time. It does concern me, certain things surrounding it. I think that's okay to say, but that's not going to diminish the fact that Derek McInnes I'll be fully behind Derek McInnes. And I'm interested really to see, he's dealing with a bigger budget than he's ever had before. You would imagine that Rangers will spend money this summer. He's never really had an expectation level which he's about to hit. Yes, Aberdeen fans are demanding, but they're not a big side. This is, Rangers. Should he have won the league with Hearts last year? I think he should have. Hearts away form, as you said, Kenny, I think 1 win and 7 or whatever, a lot of draws, I think was ultimately what blew it with them. And yes, we all know that things didn't go in their favour. And I noticed John Beaton's having a nice laugh on his holiday in Boston about all that. But it's going to be interesting, it's a first real experience of him with big money. I think he'll relish it. He does understand it. And do you know the best thing for me is Derek McInnes tactically set up his teams how to beat Rangers, and he knows our weaknesses, and he'll know that team inside out. And let's be honest as well, Derek McInnes is a Rangers fan. He's born and bred a Rangers fan, and I understand when you manage other clubs, that maybe goes away because he concentrates on his own. But he would have had a vested interest in Rangers when he's scouting them, when he's going to know. So for me, that's a huge positive with Derek McInnes. He's going to know exactly what Rangers need to improve and what we need to do this summer, and he'll have his very own ideas.
Yeah, when you listen to him in the build-up to games and stuff like that, or after games, when they've beaten it, he's not disparaging, but he's not particularly complimentary about Rangers when you listen to the team I'm talking about, the team that he's faced I'm talking about here. And it's an interesting one because I said this earlier on there when you were looking through the comments that I do genuinely feel that when it comes to strengths and weaknesses that Rangers have, he knows them. That he knows that to the nth degree. There's no doubt about it that he's been perfectly capable of getting results against us over the years, and he's done it. He did it a lot with Aberdeen, and he did it plenty last season with Hearts. So he knows how to get results against us. That's a good thing. The good thing I would say, the positive here for me more than anything else is I'm going to say this. If you gave me an option of Danny Röhl starting next season or Derek McInnes starting next season, I would go with Derek McInnes. That's a certainty for me. I just think he's unproven, but so was Danny Röhl and Russell Martin previous. So these decisions that the board are making are quite a big gamble for me. That's where I look at it. It's quite, you're taking a chance here, in terms of how will this go? And then you're right earlier on to answer your previous question about how easy Hearts have been to deal with. I think that's a certainty. I think everybody probably, Derek McInnes himself probably realised this, that the path they're travailing is totally different. They're going to go for a young manager that's all in on the Jamestown stuff, and they will just sit there and tweak things every 18 months, every 2 years, the same way as Union St. Galway's have done and Brighton do. They don't care about this having a manager in place. It's a head coach, and it's continually changing as the players are changing. So I don't have an issue with Hearts not being difficult or being easy to deal with. That actually, I think, is probably to be expected, because if Derek McInnes was to start next season and not win his first 5, they'd sack him. I don't think there's any doubt in it, and go and get the guy they were actually they're probably really wanting, they're looking for. I just feel again, when I look at it, Stevie, I genuinely believe it's a little bit of a gamble. That's all I'm saying. But to reiterate that, if you were giving me Derek McInnes over Danny Röhl, I would take it. I'm more at ease with that in terms of I don't know what he's going to do, but I think there is massive room for improvement with him going from Hearts to Rangers. I think he can take that step up, but I've not been convinced with Danny Röhl since about February or March time when it started to go off the rails. So in that way, I'm actually really quite happy about it.
Right, well, I'm going to go against you, Kenny, slightly. I don't think that this is a gamble. I think it's really safe. I think my concern in the context I'm trying to bring is that, and people are asking who you would have had. I'll answer you quite honestly, and if you look at the socials, I'll tell you what I would have said. All the available names and everything else, and where we were, and how quickly. And I felt the key was that we get somebody in. The two that I mentioned was Steven Gerrard, because he's free and it's obvious, and Derek McInnes. And I would be happy with either. I'm worried about Derek's previous management kind of positions where he's not won much, but I understand there's context, right? With everything behind that, I understand it. What I think he'll do is what he done with Hearts last season. Is he immediately got Hearts going? I expect him to do that with Rangers. I expect that he knows the league. He knows how to win games. He done that with Hearts. He started very quickly with them, and he got them going, and they were miles clear of us at the start. I think he'll do that with Rangers. I think he'll make us sturdy. I think he'll make us difficult to beat. That's all good. Danny Röhl did that for a time. It's how do you then take that expectation of the next jump to make us the winners, to make us go over the line. Now, Steven Gerrard has one trophy in his career. He had won at Rangers. He probably should have had a treble the year that he won the league. He blew countless leagues and cups, and all that's absolutely relevant. I would have taken Gerrard because he was there and he was available. That was my point. Would he have been my choice if everything? I'm not sure. But on us and on where we are, that was my two candidates. I don't want to be, and I want to reiterate, I am not negative about Derek McInnes being here. I will fully support Derek McInnes, just as I did Danny Röhl. And people remember I wasn't sure about Danny Röhl. He subsequently began to quite like him, and then ultimately ended up disappointing. Derek McInnes will get the same welcome from me. I think there's lots of positives, as well as the context that I feel. And it's only my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. The good things about Derek McInnes, absolutely knows this league. So he'll know. And he's been scouting players for Hearts that might work for Hearts, that potentially he might look at and think they could do a job for Rangers. Or he's got, and by that I'm saying he's got a very broad knowledge of our league. So he might have looked at a couple of the Motherwell players or a couple of players wherever and thought they would be good for Hearts, but I can't get them. Now he's maybe got that budget. I'm thinking about Elliot Watt and stuff like that. Maybe he's got the budget now to go and get them for Rangers. So could he do that? He's previously worked with the likes of Lewis Ferguson and things. So if he was a target, would that help him? Positives about how he sets the teams up. Derek McInnes' teams bust their balls for him every single time. Aberdeen did it. Aberdeen came to Ibrox countlessly with McInnes and Gerrard and beat us. Kilmarnock were an absolute nightmare under him, constantly well organised, everything else. And we've seen what Hearts did. Hearts constantly outran us and outplayed us and outfought us last year. I expect all that, and these are all huge positives for me for Derek McInnes. So it's not all negatives for me. There is, I like to say, a balance. I don't believe that makes it a gamble, Kenny, because of that, because he knows the league, he knows the club. He knows how to set teams up. He knows how to get the best out of them. I think any manager at this point coming in would be a gamble. For us, Gerrard would have been a gamble. Muscat would have been a gamble. Anybody would have realistically in our, but Rob Edwards certainly would have been a gamble. There's a lot of people against him. So I think Derek McInnes is really safe. And I think he's probably at this point the best and most obvious option for us. So I get it. I just have a bit of issue with him, I suppose it's just a wonder, how's he really going to do here? And that's my biggest thing about it. So I would put that back to you, Kenny, then on regards to the gamble thing about how you feel. That's how I feel on it.
What I mean by a gamble in Derek McInnes, it's not the gamble of bringing a Rangers man in. It's not that, and it's not the fact that he's only won one trophy. What I mean by this is that at this level, he is utterly untested, utterly unproven. And this is the third appointment in a row that the new owners have made that at this level have been utterly unproven. And that's the point I have. Now, this one is more sensible because of everything that you have just said. I get that. However, what I'm going to say to you is that if Derek McInnes gets the £30 million, £40 million to spend in the summer, he reshapes his squad and it doesn't start well, he's going to be under a pressure that he's never experienced before. And that, again, is going to filter up and down. It's going to filter to the players. It's going to filter upstairs. And people are going to turn around and say, you've got a guy in Derek McInnes who, no matter what way anybody looks at it, he's only ever managed in Scotland, Stevie. And I know he managed down at Bristol for a few months, but he didn't do well down there. So that's the kind of concern that I have, is that I would have been looking for a really solid, safe pair of hands here. I don't know if Derek McInnes necessarily is that. And that's the truth for me. I genuinely don't know if that is the case. I would have been looking for somebody with a proven track record of winning leagues. I think if you're serious about winning a league, that's what you do. That's just me, though. It doesn't make me right, as I say. It's just the way I feel about it. And that's not going. Again, I understand it's not going to be easy to do that, but it's just kind of where I am, Stevie. That, as I say, I must be coming across like doom and gloom, but I am actually quite happy about Derek McInnes being here. I do think he'll do a decent job. My point would be that I'll throw that question again that I asked to you about Danny Röhl. Do I see Danny Röhl winning the league next year? No. Do I see Derek McInnes winning the league next year with Rangers? No, not sure I do. I'm genuinely not sure. But I'm there to be delighted to be proven wrong.
I think that Derek McInnes will make Rangers organised, difficult to beat. He will make them run their socks off. And then what I would hope is that the quality that we have, Chermiti, Shankland, Raskin, Fernandez, Romans, could he get the right type of players around them? It needs quality. It needs the understanding. It needs hard work. That's going to be interesting for me. And by the way, I think McInnes will get the absolute best out of squads. Do I think Derek McInnes would put up with Dujon Sterling being available for 17 games a season? I'm not sure he would. And that's what I like about it. He certainly knows the clubs, knows this team strengths and weaknesses. So it's going to be interesting. I think there's a lot to this. There's a lot of stuff in the comments. A lot of people are very much for it. A lot of people are very against it. A lot of people have the same concerns that we have. So I think that whoever we put in, if it was a Gerrard, you would get people saying he only won one. He's bombed as soon as he went away from us at Villa and in Saudi, and they would be right. I think if Kevin Muscat would be here, people would say these leagues aren't difficult. He went to Europe, he went to Belgium, and I think it was Belgium, and he didn't do well there, and he's not got the experience, and he's never managed a club like this, and they'd probably have a point as well. And I think that no matter who we put in, there would be a counterbalance to a positive and a negative. So it's definitely, we do know it's Derek McInnes. Derek McInnes is going to be appointed Rangers manager on a 3-year deal. Danny Röhl is going to leave for RB Salzburg. All we need is the official appointments. Kenny, getting back to what we need, do you think Derek McInnes goes back to Hearts? Do you think he goes to the likes of Devlin, who's free? Do you think they go to Braga? Braga's been linked heavily with Wolves. I think they're putting a Portuguese coach in, and I think they quite like the kind of way that Braga plays and stuff like that. That was getting written up a couple of days ago, so maybe there's interest there. Will he go back to Hearts, do you think? I think it's interesting what he's done. See the likes of, like, he's taken Stuart Finlay and stuff like that. Do you think Derek McInnes will make? This is something that's I've thought of. Do you think Derek McInnes will make a few workman-like signings that aren't flashy, that aren't the big names, that could be exactly what this squad needs? I've long since said this squad misses Clelands, Broadfoots, etc. Every successful team has had the guys, probably like Derek McInnes, actually, that came in, filled in, and played his part as squad players and knew what it was all about. I'm interested. Do you think that Derek McInnes will do that with Rangers and be allowed to do that with Rangers, as well as getting in the mix of, we hope, quality other signings?
Yes, and whether he goes back to Hearts or not, I'm not 100% certain. Yeah, the time will tell on that one. But will he sign 3 or 4 solid pros from the SPFL? I don't doubt it, actually. I think he very much will. The one that I would look at right away and think, he might well have a look at somebody like Craig Halkett. Now, Craig Halkett has had injuries galore, but he really does rate him. So don't be surprised if that's the type of thing that he was looking at. I would look at the likes of Braga. I'm not sure I would go out my way to pay that kind of money. Very good player. I'm not disputing that at all, but I think they're talking 7-8 million quid. That's an awful lot of money for a guy that's had one good season in Scotland, and we'll wait and see. But yeah, I mean, the likes of what you've said, he's about the likes of Stuart Finlay, bringing guys like that in and making sure that his squad is full of 2 players for every position, and a number of them being Scots that know our league, the SPFL, got good experience in it. He will do that. I don't think there's any doubt he'll do that, Stevie, because if you look at when he was even away back in his younger days, when he was at St Johnstone, he did that. He did it at Aberdeen for sure, with guys like Shinnie and stuff like that. He made a team as solid as he could and as organised as they could. And that's the one thing that I'm quite looking forward to, that. The defensive organisation, the solidity off the ball is going to be excellent. There's just no doubt in that. It's the adventurous side of the game that worries me about Derek McInnes. I want to see him actually, almost to a certain degree, everything that he's done that I've watched previously, and I've watched enough of his teams up at Ibrox, Stevie, to know exactly what he does. And this is my point, that I want him to be much, much more attack-minded when he turns up at Ibrox, and away games as well, because he's going to need to. If he's going to be successful here, he's going to need to be.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting signing Stuart Finlay before everybody has a panic in the comments. I was just saying that these are the type of players that he signs wherever he goes. They're the hard-working guys. They're the unattractive, not star guys, but he gets them working hard, gets them organised, and gets them doing well. I think the likes of Finlay Curtis under Derek McInnes would do extremely well. I'm excited about that. Another youngster, Kenny, it's been reported tonight, Bailey Rice, has finally signed, or is to sign with confirmation this week, according to Andy Newport, a new contract at Rangers. We hinted last week that was the way it was going. Rangers will put Bailey Rice out on loan, it seems. Kilmarnock, Motherwell would be my kind of chosen. Well, Kilmarnock definitely with Neil McCann would be my. Only don't say Motherwell because I don't know what they're going to do manager-wise and things, and would somebody from there be fancy him, maybe not know a lot about him. Neil McCann, having worked at the club last year with Barry and stuff like that, I think that's the most obvious move for me. If not, I'll say this again, it won't be popular. If we were to say, well, he's maybe not ready for Premier League next, do we want 6 months in the Championship? I'd be looking at sending him down to Dunfermline, given how much Robbie Fraser's flourished down there. I think that would be a good loan move for him. Would he go to somewhere like Wraith Rovers, where Paul and Seal's just done really well? I say these clubs because they get big crowd. There's expectations there to win games. He'll get used to that, Bailey Rice. But I definitely think if and when he signs that this week, according to reports, we should be looking to put him out on loan. And then with a chance of 6 months, we look at things again. And he's the type of player as well under Derek McInnes that might again flourish.
Yeah, I don't doubt this with Bailey Rice. I'm actually quite happy that he signed, and he's about to sign, because I 100% believe there's a good player in there. My concern has always been that he hasn't managed to take that step up to the senior game. And this is the fourth time we've talked about this, but I don't think it matters where he goes in terms of the loan, as long as he's guaranteed game time. He's going to get 30, 40, 45 games this season. I think it will be the making of the boy, because I think that's all he needs. And it's what we were both discussing last week and the week before, Stevie, that if he's not going to get huge amounts of game time at Ibrox, he has to go on loan and get that game time and then come back and be good to go in the first team squad, where we can turn around and look at him when he comes in and say, instead of turning around and saying, oh, he's just not really managing to take the step up of clearly a good player and clearly capable of playing at this level. He's just not at the game time, Stevie. And we've discussed it. It's Rangers failing this. It is Rangers failing that we haven't managed to progress Bailey Rice from a 16-year-old to a 19, 20-year-old that he is now to be a first-team player. That's our fault, because he should be, because he's got the capability, he's got the ability. We just need to iron out the wrinkles in his game and the mentality and stuff like that, and get him going and get him playing full team or senior full team football. That's what we need. He needs to play games, Stevie. And I fully believe that if he can do that for a season and come back, he'll be capable, more than capable of playing for Rangers, because he has the talent.
Yeah, more news surrounding Rangers is a link to Vaclav Cherny. I believe he's in the middle or soon to have his contract ripped up by Wolfsburg as well. He'd be floating about available to get. Listen, Cherny back at Rangers, I think, is an absolute yes from me. I think he's a quality player. Would it be as good? People say, you never go back and things like that. I think if the football club had a chance to get Cherny, especially for free, if his contract is being ripped up, etc., I would take that. Absolutely no danger of even thinking about it. I think Cherny's an automatic yes for me, Kenny.
He's the best right winger we've had in about 50 years, and it feels like 50 years, because we haven't had a proper right winger for a long, long time, Stevie, and it's an absolute definite for me. If you could get him. The other thing I would say about that is that if you're Derek McInnes just now and you're getting offered a guy that's just come off the back of 2 cracking seasons, because he had a great season in Turkey last season. So he's just had a great season with us, great season in Turkey. You've got to look at that and say that the damage that the guy can do. What was it? He got 16, 17, 18 goals for us first season, or the season he was here. And I know he hit double figures last season and played a lot in Turkey. And listen, the guy's a great talent. And I didn't realise that. That's news to me that his contract's about to be terminated, because if that's the case...
It's not. Listen, I'll just state this. It was just internet kind of rumours the other day that he was with Besiktas and formerly Wolfsburg, that they might be ripping it up because he had a great season. Even that, look, see if you had to pay 3-4 million for Vaclav Cherny, I'd still do it. I still think people are saying maybe he's coming up to the wrong side of, his 20s and stuff. I understand, but if you can get 2 or 3 great years out of Vaclav Cherny like we had, I think that makes it worthwhile. Not every player has to be bought to sell on for 30 odd million.
No, you have to sign players to win leagues and cups. You can't have a team full of project players, Stevie. It just doesn't work. We need a core that we don't change for 3 or 4 years. That's what we need to do, is get a core, and then the players that are going to be the project players can flit in and out every year or two, and you make that's your player trading model, is that you manage to keep a core for a number of years and replace the core with similar Scottish players and stuff like that. That's my take on it anyway. And the project players are the ones that are in almost on the periphery. They come in, do a wonderful job for a year or two, and you flip them. It's that simple. And for me, Cherny is one of those guys that, yeah, you might not make huge amounts of money. And as you say, if you're going to have to pay for them, then go and pay it if you can, if he's interested. Is there other right backs, right wingers out there? Yeah, probably, but I can't think of any that would turn up at Ibrox. And bearing in mind, he had a tricky start to his spell at Ibrox, Stevie. Crowd were berating him a little bit, and he started fighting back. And all of a sudden, crowd took to him the minute he did it. But he started shouting back at them, giving it, do you know what? I'm trying my best here. And the crowd went, all right, got behind him. And as I say, he grew from strength to strength that season. I thought he was certainly one of our best players in the last season, or not season last season, but the season before, if you know what I mean. And a definite positive yes for me in that one. If you can get him, go and try and get him.
Yeah, I think, as I said, it's a really interesting one. Definitely take him. I think he was great when he was here. He scored a lot of good goals. It's going to be interesting to see, and I think, Kenny, we just need to wait and see what's going to happen with this. Over the next couple of days, we expect an announcement from Rangers towards the end of the week, as with regards to, not an announcement, perhaps a press conference and that towards the end of the week. Announcement, I would hope, would come pretty soon. The longer these things go on, it's going to make us decide. There's always questions about, was there players ready to come in this summer? Would Derek McInnes still want them? Does Derek McInnes get a real say? Is it Stigginger, Bjornby and Dan Purdy leading this? Was Danny Röhl really in control, or is it more a committee like Andrew Kavanagh talked about? So what's Derek McInnes' role going to be here in all of this? It's going to be interesting. If there was lots of rumours about potential pre-season being in Austria, are we going to go there now? I'm not sure. All of this, I suppose, is kind of up in the air. We talked a lot about Coventry being the opposition. Apparently then it was to West Ham. Is that game going to go ahead? So I think over the next couple of days, I hope that what Derek McInnes and the appointment does bring to Rangers is a period of stability. We can't have another manager that lasts 3 months. We can't have another manager that lasts 8 months. We can't have 3 managers in a year. I think Derek McInnes, hopefully, if it is him, and we're working on all the reports saying it is him and what Romano said and all this stuff on the internet, if it's going to be Derek McInnes, then I would want a period of stability with him where he gradually makes Rangers back to where we can be, makes us stable, makes us difficult to beat, gets the players running hard for him. See if I start to see that with the kind of quality hopefully we have. If he can get Nico Raskin playing the way Barry Ferguson got Nico Raskin playing, if he can get a tune out of Miovski, given that he worked with Miovski before, these are the things I'm looking for Derek McInnes to do, as well as bring in guys that you can formulate the squad with, guys that can make us difficult. But maybe we can get a bit of quality like Cherny in on the right-hand side. Maybe we can get Mikey Moore back on the left for a loan again. That's the kind of thing we want. And hopefully, Kenny, that's what Derek McInnes is going to do for Rangers. That's my ultimate hope for us. And he has the experience of Scotland. He has the understanding of the Scottish League. He knows the absolute weaknesses of Rangers. He's a Rangers man. And more importantly, he understands exactly what he's walking into. There'll be no surprises for Derek McInnes. We don't need to have a meeting with Derek McInnes and tell him what's expected of him at this football club, because he knows. And I think that's the kind of hope and feelings I have towards Derek McInnes. And he's a role player. And I really hope that he comes in and he hits the ground running and he does do these things. If he can make Rangers run hard, defend well, tough to beat the way he kind of did with Hearts. Maybe the quality we've got in some areas and the quality and the budget you'll have to add more will mean success for Rangers.
Well, I'll put my positive hat on then and say exactly what you've just said about being organised, disciplined, hard to beat, run through brick walls for their manager. All the things that he's taken and produced at different clubs. He did it at St Johnstone, he did it at Kilmarnock, he did it at Aberdeen, and he certainly did it at Hearts last season. And Hearts were a good team last season. There's just no getting away from that. They were a really good side. And you've got to look at it and say, is he getting... is he becoming better the older he gets? Yeah, probably. However, as I say, for me, it's one of the things from years ago that we used to say, take the handbrake off. That's what we've been crying out for a long time. So if he can get that discipline, if he can get that organisation that he clearly got everywhere else, and he will get that, Stevie. I don't think there's any doubt in that. I don't know how he goes about doing it so quickly, because effectively, if I remember right, he had 3 or 4 games at the end of the season previous, and then he's turned up in pre-season, and Hearts instantly looked like a very, very well-drilled side. Now, that is exactly what we're crying out for, being well-drilled, difficult to beat, get the quality players middle to front that we need to go and be able to express themselves and play within a freedom that perhaps certain teams that he's built haven't been able to do because they don't have the quality. Hearts did last season with Braga and Shankland. It was clear. Kizaridis on the left-hand side as well. Real danger players. So I don't doubt that he can do this at Rangers. My only concern is, having watched enough of his teams, that's what I need to see from him, is to turn on and be a little bit less pragmatic and more dynamic for me. That's all I want. And if he does that, I think he'll be very, very, very successful, because with the budget he's got, Stevie, and the ability to buy or sign a higher quality player than he's managed to before, I'd be really quite excited about that. So there's the positive side of it for me. As I say, the negative for me is only the fact that somebody said, "Oh, Walter only managed in Scotland." I'm aware of that. It's not that I feel that Derek McInnes isn't experienced enough. It's just that I feel that the European experience and stuff like that really isn't there. And I do like that in a manager, to be honest. They've got a bit of a broader perspective and they're bringing it to us. Whereas on a positive, Derek is actually bringing the pragmatic Scottish side of it to us. So hopefully, as I say, with the budget he's got, he can add to that.
Yeah, and we'll just wait to see. Kenny, before we go, Bayern Leverkusen are ramping up their interest in Rangers star Manuel Fernandes. According to Team Talk, Gers are set to demand a record-breaking fee for the defender. I was getting interested there, and then I seen it was Fraz Fletcher that's the audit, the author of that one. Take it with a pinch of salt, but undoubtedly Rangers are going to get a lot of interest in this boy. And I would expect Rangers to hold out for a record-breaking fee as well, because there's no point in letting this boy go cheaply. Peterborough, I think, have a sale on and things as well. So he's going to be... Listen, I think Raskin, Fernandes, Chermiti are all going to be the ones that are linked with big moves this summer, and there is going to be strong interest. Be interesting to see what Rangers... deem acceptable and how they encounter this summer. It's a really interesting one.
Well, particularly with a new manager in, because he might well be looking at certain players in that squad, and not naming any names here, but he might just be looking at them already saying they're weak links in this team. For all that we fancy them as a coach and a manager, he might, and him and his backroom staff might be looking at this and going, you know, doesn't matter who goes, we can build a new team and a better team. So I'll always say that, mate. Players come and go. The fans are the only constant here. So I'm always disappointed to see good players go, but I'm always in the belief that better players should be coming in, because if you're making a lot of money, then you do your homework, you do your due diligence, you can replace any football player. So we'll wait and see what Derek McInnes thinks of this, because he might be looking at that and saying, well, if I can get 25 million for Fernandes, how much of that is going to be added on to my budget, kind of thing. So I don't mind it, and I do think that the likes of Manny Fernandes and Chermiti in particular will be the two that we get the highest bids for. Nico Raskin, I don't know if he's starting tonight or not, but if Rangers are sensible about this, we get Nico to sign a new deal or move on this summer anyway for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That will all come to the surface. I suppose one last question, Kenny, before we go. Football's about to start. Any idea on Derek McInnes' backroom staff? I wouldn't imagine Paul Sheeran, given who he's played for and things in the past, is a huge lover of Rangers. I don't see him coming. Would he look towards bringing in maybe an ex-player that he'd maybe played with, an ex-Ranger? What do you see him doing with his backroom team? Because he's obviously got, we have a goalkeeping coach, we have a set-piece coach, we have Stevie Smith in there. Who's going to be his assistant? I think these are things that I'm intrigued to find out who he's going to bring with him, if anyone, or who he's going to get in.
I don't know. I thought about that earlier on, and I genuinely don't know, Stevie, who he would be. The natural one, Neil McCann's at Kilmarnock, so I don't see Neil leaving there to become an assistant, but you never know. But Billy Dodds is another one that you would look at, but there's loads of them out there, mate, that it'll be interesting to see what he does. It won't be Tony Docherty or Paul Sheeran, no, I wouldn't imagine. So I don't know, mate. I genuinely don't know, because I have thought about it and I've racked my brain a little bit and I can't really think. So it'll be interesting to see who he does actually bring with him, because I think he'll probably bring 2 or 3 with him. Certainly 2. I don't think there'll be any doubt about that. So it'll be interesting to see who he does decide on.
Yeah, a lot of people may be suggesting Barry Ferguson. I'm not sure Barry wants to be an assistant.
I would think Barry's probably been the one that has had Andrew Cavanagh's ear about this and Jim Middleton's ear, and probably saying, go and get Derek now.
Interesting. He did say he listened to the legends of the club. Maybe they felt, the likes of McCulloch and that Derek McInnes was the one to get, but that's speculating. We don't know, do we? Be interesting to see who he brings. Certainly a lot of people suggesting Stephen Naismith for assistant manager, and a lot of people saying fuck no to that. So that's going to be another one that plays out. Listen, Derek McInnes will be appointed Rangers manager in the coming days. Kenny, a final couple of words from you on this whole episode of Danny Röhl going and Derek McInnes coming in. What do you, I don't know, sum it up? We've said all the kind of positives, all the negatives. Where are you with it?
Where I am with it is the speed of it suggests it's that we haven't heard something. There's been things going on behind the scenes that we haven't heard about. Where I feel the negatives are very quickly is just, as I say, I think he's a really pragmatic coach. I want to see him be more attack-minded and adventurous. That's all. Welcome aboard when he comes here. On Danny Röhl, as I say, I just find that something doesn't add up with it all for me, Stevie, because you don't go out your way to back a guy like that and be convinced that he's all in, so therefore you're all in, and that he's the right guy. So I don't know what's been, if what's been said in public is necessarily the totally right feeling that's been going on behind the scenes. Now that again, as you say, is my speculation. I'm just guesswork from me, but it doesn't add up. If you know what I mean, none of it adds up to me. That when you look at it and say this has happened that quickly, that the board themselves haven't really known that Danny maybe isn't all in.
Well, we'll find out in the coming days, that's for sure. Rangers are on the verge of announcing Danny Röhl's departure to RB Salzburg, and Derek McInnes coming in as the football club's new manager. Before we go, we are playing a Four Lads of Dream live show on the 24th of July, Friday night, starting at 7 p.m. I'm delighted to say that our guest will be none other than Kevin Thompson, coming in to talk a wee bit about life at Rangers and where we currently will be by that point. That'll be the last weekend before the league season starts. We'll know we'll have in Europe. We'll know who's come in the summer, signing wise, and we'll be able to judge and have a discussion on pre-season and things like that. We're really, really looking forward to it. The response has been fantastic. There is only 14 standing tickets left for the lounge at Bar 442, which is Scotty Arfield's new place. Used to be the Park Bar, I believe, on Paisley Road West. And there's 4 tables left only. So we are selling out really fast. It's been an absolutely fantastic response. So thank you, everybody. There is a link in the description of the show and also pinned on social media. If anyone fancies coming along, prices are £10 for standing and 15 for seating. It's a booth, etc., tables, etc. So really happy to be playing that. Really delighted. Thanks to Scott Arfield for making it happen at the bar, and we're really looking forward to playing it. Hope to see a lot of you on that night. It'll be a cracking night. Huge thanks tonight to our sponsors: Rhino Express, Clyde Fire Protection and Joinery, Arfield Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning Candy, and our partners rydc.co.uk. And to everybody in the comments, such a range of opinion, which is absolutely brilliant to hear and read. That's all we want. It doesn't make us right. It doesn't make us, the voices or anything. We're just here giving our opinion, as we've done in so long. And hopefully people have enjoyed it. If you want to like and subscribe, please do. And all that's remained to be seen and to be said, I think, it's good luck to Derek McInnes as Rangers manager. Really happy for him that he's finally been given the opportunity. A boy that grew up supporting Rangers, played for the football club, played during the very successful 9-in-a-row season, things like that. Played that night at Tannadice, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. And delighted with him getting that opportunity. How he does at Rangers, we wish him all the very, very best. I have really positive thoughts and a bit of worry, just like I would have had regarding anybody that would have come in. So let's see how he does. He'll certainly get a big welcome. I look forward to a Rangers team that works hard, runs hard, and is organised and works their balls off. Can we get the talent and the star quality around us that take us to where we need to be? I certainly hope so. But welcome to Rangers, Derek McInnes, once more. And we'll have more from you from that coming up this week. Wednesday night, Kenny and I will be back. Let's hope it's been announced formally by then. But until then, folks, have a good couple of days. Enjoy the World Cup. And yeah, stay safe, be healthy. And let's see what happens to our football club in the coming days. Bye for now.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Arfield Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.